people go?
When they can't make a living?
Where do the people go?
When the children are hungry?
Where do the people go? Oh, where do the people go?
Globalization, hailed by governments and corporations as an opportunity to bring goods and technology to every corner of the globe. But opponents say the concentration of power and wealth of corporations has weakened the ability of many to defend their communities and way of life.
In these stories, immigrants will look at how globalization affected their lives, forcing them to leave their home countries. Free trade destroyed Jesse and Jaime's family business in Bolivia. Maricel is one of thousands of women encouraged by the Philippine government to work abroad in order to pay off its international debt. Lucnaire left Haiti after working for 14 cents an hour at a US-owned baseball factory that moved to China in search of cheaper labor costs.
Today, these immigrants work to improve conditions in their communities in New York, California, and Florida. With years of experience in the United States, they now reflect on what led them to leave their countries. Over 150 million people, the equivalent of half of the U.S. population, are in migration around the world. Immigration has transformed communities across the United States. Has corporate globalization created a new wave of migration around the world?
Where do the people go?
When they can't make a living?
Where do the people go?
When the children are hungry?
Where do the people go? Oh, where do the people go?
When the banks take over?
Cuando buscas trabajo,
¿A dónde vamos?
cuando hay hambre en la casa,
¿A dónde vamos? Oh, ¿a dónde vamos?
si buscamos la paz,
Where do the people go?
When they poison the
¿A
water?
dónde vamos?
cuando ya no hay
Where
escuela,
do the people go? Oh, ¿a dónde vamos?
Saan saan ka pupunta?
A lot of people are leaving the country every day. I should say like thousands and thousands of women leaving the country. People are going abroad because there's no jobs actually in the Philippines. Or if there is job in the Philippines, it's not enough to survive.
Maricel grew up in a large family in the Philippines. While both her parents worked, their income wasn't enough to support the family. Her father decided to go abroad to find work, but he was deceived by an agency that promised jobs overseas, took his money, and disappeared.
We were financially drained because of that. We lost all the money that we have. So that's why I can't go to school.
With her family in debt, Maricel was forced to rethink her future. She was told that domestic workers in Hong Kong could earn as much as a manager in the Philippines.
And I realized that it's just a waste of time for me to go to college, because those people who went to college, they wasted 4 years studying hard, and then they have to go to abroad to work as domestics. And I said that I just don't want to waste any more time, then I'm just going to go abroad.
All around her, Maricel saw advertisements encouraging Filipinos to work abroad. Overseas job placement agencies were everywhere.
Placement agency dominates the newspaper. It's showing the dollar sign, actually, how much you will earn. The modern heroes of the Philippines are the people who are abroad sending money in the Philippines.
10% of the Filipino population works abroad, the highest percentage of any nation. The government actively promotes this overseas workforce. But why would they want so many people to leave the Philippines? The Philippines owes millions of dollars to the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, or IMF. These institutions, both heavily influenced by the U.S., were established to aid developing nations. But their policies have actually increased poverty, unemployment, and inequality in countries like the Philippines. To receive loans, nations are required to cut spending on health care and education. They must freeze wages and turn over control of basic services like water and electricity to private corporations.
We actually have a huge debt at the IMF. On top of the economy is not doing well, and you have this loan that you have to be paid off, and people are talking about even my 10th generation will pass, we won't be able to survive. So realistically speaking, when is it gonna be better? Is there a possibility that the economy gets better? You're paying the debt, and on top of that, you have this big interest. It's not very realistic that you will come out of it, like the Philippines will come out of it in one piece.
Each year, developing nations pay back 3 times as much as the amount of aid they receive from wealthier countries. The single biggest item in the Philippine budget is paying its foreign debt. Overseas workers are the largest source of revenue for the Philippines and enable the country to make payments towards its debt. The money overseas workers send home to their families circulates dollars into the Philippine economy, including huge tax revenues for the government.
Like thousands of other Filipinas, Maricel went to Hong Kong as a domestic worker.
I have to start working from, I think, 6 o'clock. Every single morning I have to scrub everything. I could not even sit for 15 minutes. When I am using the bathroom, I cannot close the door. Honestly, I felt like I was a dog. That was my feeling, as if like I was like an animal, you know, like why it's like this. But then I said, I'm gonna have to survive this. I just keep saying that I'm gonna have to survive this.
After the employer beat her, Maricel decided to leave. She was then hired by an American executive based in the Hong Kong office of Philip Morris, a U.S. corporation. When the family returned to New York, they brought Maricel with them. Maricel was given permission to enter the United States as a personal servant of a U.S. citizen, but she was only granted a tourist visa, not a work permit, making her vulnerable to the abuses of her employers.
Upon arriving here, actually, my nightmare began because we have a contract, and in the contract it stipulated the conditions, the hours. It was also stipulated that I will be provided with winter clothing, which it didn't happen. I felt so isolated, actually. I was very isolated. I was working around the clock, and I was only receiving $2.20 per hour. You talk to your employer and they will just tell you that you're happy that you're here. If it's not for us, you wouldn't be able here and work. The way I see it, it's not like we are not the one lucky. You're the one who's lucky because you manage on the cheap labor, and at the same time, you benefit from it. They're saying that you're part of the family, and anytime that they don't need you anymore, they can just say goodbye to you just like that. And if you are part of the family, you won't do that.
Even when she was only earning $2.20 an hour, Maricel managed to send half her earnings to her family back home.
Every month, I would go to Philippine National Bank to send money for my parents' allowance. Also, part goes for my sister's tuition fee. Half of my salary goes to the Philippines.
After 10 years, Maricel decided to stand up for her rights and help other domestic workers organize to earn the minimum wage.
People who work as domestic deserve dignity and respect, and that should be treated like a human being. Whatever is the minimum wage that these workers should receive it, and they should be entitled for their legal holidays as well as their weekly days off. I think New York City will stop on its own track if there's no domestic in this city.
Jesse and Jaime live in California. They had a comfortable life in Bolivia until their family's business was destroyed by free trade. Both worked as technical engineers and managed the family's lighting equipment factory.
En esos momentos servía para mantener toda la familia, ¿no? Y todos trabajábamos en la fábrica, o sea, era un trampolín que nos servía de trabajo y nos daba tiempo para estudiar.
Bolivia was in debt. By the early 1980s, the country found itself unable to make payments on the $3 billion it owed to international lenders. The International Monetary Fund agreed to make additional loans on the condition that Bolivia open its markets to foreign goods.
Empezó el comercio, el contrabando libre, comercio libre que le llamaron. Entonces empezaron a llegar artefactos de todas partes del mundo. Lógico, nuestros materiales ya no eran tan competitivos como un artefacto, digamos, extranjero. Entonces nos tocaba bajar de precio las cosas. Vinieron devaluaciones pequeñas, pero cada año había devaluación.
As far back as the 1970s, the IMF promoted free trade as a way for Bolivia to pay off its debts. But in fact, the flood of cheap imports led to inflation and threatened Bolivian-owned businesses.
Pues fíjate que la última trabajo que hicimos grande fue de la iluminación del Fondo Monetario Internacional. Y mi papá estaba muy contento, ¿no? Pues vamos a trabajar con el Fondo Monetario Internacional. Yo le dije, no creo que te ponga tan contento eso, yo no quiero hacer este trabajo. Porque ya habíamos visto cómo el Fondo Monetario Internacional había interferido en la privatización de la luz eléctrica. Todos estaban muy contentos del país de que se privatice la luz porque iba a haber mucho mejor servicio. Y ya cuando después pasó los años, 2 o 3 años, empezó a ver el agrio de esa venta. Pero pues lo hicimos el trabajo y yo veía las pantallitas colgadas ahí en el techo y decía, tal vez esas van a ser las últimas que vamos a poner.
In 1983, Jesse and Jaime visited the U.S. because Jesse needed a special eye operation. They left their 8-month-old daughter Jessica and their 10-year-old son Enrique and came to California for what they thought would be a short medical visit.
Era eso, ¿no? Venir a hacer la operación de mis ojos y volver. No había ningún interés en quedarnos. Teníamos toda nuestra vida ya, aunque de sacrificios, pero era nuestra vida.
While Jessie was recovering from the operation, they received a call from her father. The Bolivian economy had crashed. Inflation was at 24,000%. The value of the Bolivian peso was at an all-time low, and the family's factory was in serious jeopardy.
Y más grave, ¿no? Que mi papá te diga, no, quédate ahí porque aquí las cosas están mal. Cuando siempre fue un hombre que decía, somos de fierro, decía, nos doblamos pero no nos rompemos. Pero en el momento que escuchamos a mi papá que dice, no se vengan, para que él diga eso, la situación completamente mala. Y veíamos nosotros en la televisión y en los periódicos, ¿no? La gente iba al mercado y iba con el dinero en carretillas. Y ya la gente no contaba el dinero. pesaba el dinero. Era como un trading. Querías una libra de azúcar, ponían un montón de billetes ahí, ¿no? O sea, llorábamos, nosotros veíamos eso, decíamos, Dios mío, ¿qué están haciendo nuestros hijos?
With the Bolivian economy in chaos, Jesse and Jaime decided to stay in the U.S. to earn money to help their family survive. But without immigration documents, they couldn't find work as technical engineers. They became janitors cleaning the offices of corporations.
Y ahí también fue un choque bastante grande para mí, ¿no? Cómo nos hacían preparar las mesas. Entonces, preparaban un banquete ahí y entraban, picaban unas cuantas cosas y todos había que botar. Nos estamos encargados de limpiar, de botar todo eso. Entonces, ese fue un choque para mí, no decía, ¿cómo aquí se puede desperdiciar tanta comida mientras que allá no tenemos que comer?
Pero ya la tristeza fue a mi hija, nos costó 2 años reunir el dinero para traer a mi hijo, otros 2 años para traer a mi hija. Cuando Jessica viene aquí, ella tenía 4 años. Ya se pueden imaginar cuánto nos costaban las llamadas a Bolivia, ¿no? Pero fue bonito porque, por ejemplo, mi hija nunca se olvidó mi voz. Desde que ella tenía 8 meses y la dejamos, y le decía, pongan el teléfono por favor a su oído de mi hija. Entonces le cantaba las canciones que siempre le cantaba. Bueno, resulta que traemos primero a mi hijo, después de 2 años, ya tenía 12 años cuando llegó acá. Lógico, no había nada, la única forma que venga fuera que se venga por México, ¿no? Y con un coyote desde Bolivia. Cuando vino mi hijo, se perdió 3 días en México. La persona que le iba a traer tuvo problemas con su contacto en la frontera. Fueron 3 días de amargura, yo creo que jamás en mi vida he pasado tanto dolor.
Enrique made it safely to the U.S. 2 years later, the family was reunited with Jessica. Today, Jaime continues his work as a janitor. Jessie now works with her church, training other immigrants to become community leaders. Back in Bolivia, Jessie and Jaime's family business has closed its doors. For decades, Bolivians have been further impoverished by free trade policies, which have not improved its status as the poorest nation in South America. New trade agreements, like the Free Trade Area of the Americas, expand the rights of international corporations while decimating local economies and forcing people like Jessie and Jaime to leave.
One of my best memories in Haiti is when I used to fly kite. Sometimes the kite is so powerful, when it's really windy, you have to find a tree to tie it. Otherwise, it's going to take you away with it.
Luc Nair is from Haiti. He lives with his mother in Florida. In Haiti, Luc Nair made baseballs at a U.S.-owned factory, one of hundreds of multinational corporations operating there.
Tomorrow belongs to Haiti. Haiti, it's a great place to do business.
When you see you give a full 8 hours during the daytime, working very hard with no rest whatsoever for $1. I know many people, even before they get paid, they already owe every penny of it. My mother used to pay $7 for a room. And in that room, sometimes we have to share it with somebody else. Because when the payment day comes, sometimes you just cannot afford to pay that $7 yourself. I could not believe it when they told me the baseball company moved to China because they think they're paying too much to the Haitian people to do it. So in China, they can get it done even cheaper. So they are not there to help the country. They are not there to help people. They are there, you know, to take advantage of you, to get you to work as slave, as cheaper they can.
To maximize profits, corporations search the globe for ways to cut labor costs. The United States encourages governments to maintain a favorable climate for corporations. This means keeping wages low and preventing workers from organizing for better conditions. In Haiti, the Duvalier family dictatorship was backed by the United States. They ruled the country for 30 years and were instrumental in opening the Haitian market to U.S. corporations. U.S. tax dollars sent as foreign aid were used to actively oppose a minimum wage increase in Haiti, the poorest country in the hemisphere. Duvalier's military forces had direct ties to the CIA and used brutal repression against the Haitian people.
What I hated the most about it is the right of speech. You could not talk, because if you do, oh God, you won't live, you won't live for long. They open a huge, campaign of arrest. Anybody they please to, they get you arrested. So therefore, some people lost their lives, and then one of those people happened to be my brother. So he died when he was in his 30s, early 30s. Those two factors, the economic and the political situation, one doesn't really go without the other, somehow. No matter how hard you try to separate them, you can't. Since you are living in such a horrible situation at your own homeland, so all you have in mind is just to live.
Luckner left Haiti on a small boat.
The boat ride was, the sea was very rough. Matter of fact, me especially, I thought really that was it for us. That was the last day of us.
Near Miami, they were picked up by the Coast Guard and taken to an immigration detention center, where he spent nearly 5 months. Luckner is one of thousands of Haitians who have been detained for coming to the U.S. without documents.
In a country like Haiti, not everybody is entitled to an American visa. American visa usually is for the rich, people who have lots of money in the bank, fancy houses, big business. Like me, by the time I was in Haiti, no way I would get an American visa. No matter how hard I would try, I would never get it. I think it's a way to prevent people from coming to America. In my mind, I think they don't want a bunch of poor people, to come here. Even when those poor people come, it is in their own interest. Because when those poor people leave their countries and come here, they take a lot of advantages from those people. The thing is that when I got here, I found that things were not so pretty as we thought.
When Luckner first came to the United States, he picked oranges for Minute Maid, a company owned by Coca-Cola.
You have that 50-pound bags all around your neck, climbing that tall tree on the ladder. When winter comes, you have no heat, no hot water. Life is not really easy. No.
Luckner now worked with the Farm Worker Association of Florida, helping people organize for the rights they are entitled to as workers and as immigrants. Apopka, Florida is home to agricultural corporations which grow most of the potted plants in the United States. These companies reap huge profits by paying low wages to recent immigrants. Workers are subjected to dangerous conditions and exposed to toxic chemicals without being informed how to protect themselves.
I think the world has enough for everybody to make a decent living, where they would not have to sacrifice, make such sacrifice in order to survive. So we are victims, and at the same time we are survivors, because no matter what they would do to drag the Haitian people down, we will rise up.
Everybody agrees, it seems, to keep me away from their doors. And when I manage to make it ashore, I have no time to unpack my dreams. I work the cane fields, and I swear I've found no sugar in there. Although I came begging for liberty, I'm jailed in the land of the free.
Maricel, Jesse, Jaime, and Lucne are among the millions of immigrants whose lives have been forever altered by globalization. Their stories are a testament to the hardship caused by policies that favor the rights of corporations over the needs of people.
While the U.S. eliminates obstacles for multinational corporations to move around the globe, it has poured millions of dollars into building walls to keep immigrants out.
Some people fleeing political or religious persecution are welcomed as refugees in the U.S., but refugees of the global economy are turned back.
As corporate globalization expands, immigrant communities are demanding that immigration policies be shaped by principles of human rights rather than corporate priorities.
Where do the people go
when they can't make a living?
Where do the people go
When the children are hungry?
Where do the people go? Oh, where do the people go
When the banks take over?
Cuando buscas trabajo,
¿A dónde vamos?
cuando hay hambre en la casa,
¿A dónde vamos? Oh, ¿a dónde vamos?
si buscamos la paz,
Where do the people go?
When they poison the
¿A
water?
dónde vamos?
cuando ya no hay escuela,
Where do the people go? Oh, ¿a dónde vamos?
Looking for
¿A
justice.
dónde vamos?